What's up guys, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and we have here the brand new Apple iPhone XR, one of the first unboxings in the world, so a thumbs up for that would be appreciated. So this is the latest iPhone from Apple, and it was announced alongside the iPhone XS and XS Max. And I do think this is going to be the best-selling iPhone this year. I'll tell you a little bit more about why as we're unboxing this. Now I've gone for the blue version. I was very undecided about which color to go for. There are 6 colors available in total. I have covered those in my previous video, so you can check that out in the cards. But we do have the blue version here, which I really do like. Now looking at the box, we do have a picture of the blue iPhone with a blue wallpaper, and the iPhone and Apple logos are also blue. So it looks like each of the different color iPhone XRs will have their respective colors on the box as well. Let's go ahead and get this open. Plastic off. Designed by Apple in California. And here is the phone. That looks really slick. I'm going to leave that to the side for just a second to see what else we get inside the box. So it's all the usual stuff really. We've got some paperwork, we've got the SIM card ejector tool, and then we have some Apple stickers. These are white. It would be nice if these were also blue. And then we have some Apple Lightning earpods. Now this year we no longer get a 3.5mm to Lightning converter. This is something that we did get previously on iPhones in the past years. This year we are no longer getting them. So if you do have some 3.5mm headphones that you want to use with your XR, then you will need to either have a converter or pick one up. Finally, there's a power brick as well as a USB Type A to Lightning cable. Let's get to the phone now. And now for what's probably the most satisfying part of my job, that is removing this plastic. Oh yes. The front. There we go. Right, that looks really nice. It's a very striking sky blue type of color, and I'm sure you guys want to see some close-ups of this, so let's run the B-roll. Satisfied? Anyway, looking at the iPhone XR, we do have glass panels on the front and back. Now, the glass is the same as what we've got on the iPhone XS and XS Max, and Apple are calling this the most durable glass on any smartphone out right now. And from the drop test that I've seen of the XS, it does seem very durable. Now, there's a metal band around this, but this is aluminium or aluminum, whatever you want to call it. It is not stainless steel like we've got on the XS and XS Max. And because we have the glass back on the XR, this does mean that we have wireless charging, which is great. And the XR is IP67 water and dust resistant, not IP68 like the XS and XS Max. What I do really like, however, is that the band is color coded, and it will be color coded for each of the different colors. So for the red, you'll get a red band. For the yellow, you'll get a yellow band. And for the blue here, we have a blue band. Now, side note, I know some wise guys are going to be going crazy in the comments saying, oh, this is a fake iPhone because there's FCC labels. Well, unfortunately in the UK, we still have these. I know in the US they don't. I wish they didn't have these here as well, but hey. Now let's move over onto the front and talk about this display. This is what Apple are calling a liquid retina display. It's 6.1 inches and it's using LCD technology. Not OLED like the XS and XS Max, which are superior displays and have high contrast ratios, but Apple are saying that the XR has the most color accurate LCD display in the industry. And I can tell you the colors look very nice on this. We've got very similar design language to the XS and XS Max. So we've got a small border bezel with a notch. Now this border bezel is slightly thicker compared to the XS and XS Max. It's something that I'm noticing just because I'm me, but I don't think most people will notice this unless you hold them side by side. And speaking of holding them side by side, here we have the iPhone X and XS Max for a size comparison. The iPhone XR has a 6.1 inch display, and that sits nicely in between these two. The XS Max has a 6.5 inch display, and the X and XS have a 5.8 inch display. There's also no 3D touch on the XR. This is the pressure sensitive display, but you do have something called haptic touch. So the way haptic touch works is that you can just press a little longer on a few items and it's going to bring up the additional options. This doesn't work on the icons, but the area where I normally use 3D touch most is within the keyboard, and that is to move my cursor around. Good news is on the iPhone XR, you can use haptic touch here on the spacebar to move the cursor around, and it still does pretty much the same thing. So I don't think I'm going to be missing 3D touch too much on the iPhone XR. Now let's talk about the resolution of this display, because I'm sure there's going to be lots of people going absolutely crazy in the comments. The iPhone XR has a 1792 by 828 pixels resolution. So that's roughly about an 820p resolution, which is higher than 720p, but lower than 1080p. Now, of course, it would have been nice if the XR had a 1080p resolution, but this is not the case. Now, here's the thing. In my opinion, if you're somebody who's complaining about not having a 1080p resolution, then you're most likely somebody who's currently using Android and maybe didn't have any intention of buying the XR anyway. I think the XR is targeted at people potentially using an iPhone 6, 6S, maybe even an iPhone 7. And this has the same PPI as those devices, 326. So for people coming from those iPhones, I really don't think they're going to be noticing much of a difference in terms of sharpness because of the PPI, but they will be noticing improvements on this LCD display as well as the screen to body ratio because of the small bezels on this compared to those previous iPhones. Would it have been nice to have a 1080p display on here? Yes, of course, but that is not the case. And if that is something that you're passionately against, then the iPhone XR may not be for you. Right, now moving on, within this notch here, we do have the same front-facing camera as we've got on the iPhone XS and XS Max. So it's 7 megapixels with an f2.2 aperture, and it does have Smart HDR. Smart HDR, which I keep calling Super HDR, is something that I've been very impressed with, and it's massively improved dynamic range from the front and rear-facing cameras. You've also got portrait mode from the front-facing camera with depth control, so you will be able to adjust the blur after you've taken a shot. So this is going to give you some really nice, interesting bokeh effects. Within this notch is also Face ID. This is the same Face ID technology on the XS and XS Max, so you're not missing out on anything there either. And it works super fast, very accurate. You can also use this with Apple Pay to make payments, so it's also very secure. Now moving on to the rear-facing camera, you'll notice that we've got a single rear-facing camera here on the iPhone XR. And this is the same primary camera that we've got on the iPhone XS and XS Max. So it's got 12 megapixels with optical image stabilization with an f1.8 aperture. The thing that's missing, of course, is the secondary telephoto camera. So you're not going to have optical zoom on the iPhone XR. However, you still do have the portrait mode that we've got on the XS and XS Max. This is where it's going to blur the background of your subjects. However, I recently learned that on the XR, you can only use the portrait mode from the rear-facing camera for people, not objects or animals. This is something that you can do on the XS and XS Max. You can pretty much apply that portrait mode effect to lots of different things. And also in terms of the different lighting effects that you get with portrait mode, on the iPhone XR, you only have natural, studio, and contour. You don't have the stage lighting effects that make the background black. Personally, I've never been a big fan of those anyway, so it's something that I don't think I'm really going to miss. So for normal photography and video, I can safely say that this is going to be one of the best cameras out there. I've been using the iPhone XS Max quite a lot, and I've been very impressed, especially with the dynamic range in video. I would go to say that the iPhone XS, XS Max, and now potentially the XR has the best video on any smartphone right now. But I'm also interested to see how well the portrait mode works on the iPhone XR with the single rear-facing camera. Of course, it's not going to have as much depth information as the iPhone XS and XS Max do. So if you do want me to do a camera comparison of the iPhone XR with another device, super safe style, then definitely let me know in the comments below which device you'd like me to compare it to. Now internally, we do have the same processor that's on the iPhone XS and XS Max, and that is the Apple A12 Bionic chip. This is one of the fastest processors out there, very fast and snappy, and I'd assume that it might be even slightly faster on this because you're running at a lower resolution. Of course, that's something that I'm gonna have to test out over time, and we do have iOS 12 on here, so we've got all of your swipe gestures. You can swipe from the right-hand side for your control center, from the left for all of your notifications, and you can swipe up to go home. And because we've got these same Face ID sensors here, that does mean we've got Animoji and Memoji. I really do like Memoji. You can see that mine looks very much like me here. Right now, taking a quick look around the iPhone XR, on the left hand side we've got volume buttons as well as the mute switch. Nothing at the top. On the right hand side we have the power button as well as a SIM card tray. Now the XR does support dual SIM cards. So we've got a single physical SIM card in here, but we are going to be getting a software update soon, and that's going to enable an eSIM. So you're going to be able to have an eSIM and a standard SIM running at the same time. At the bottom, there is the lightning port. We've got two grills which are symmetrical. One of these houses the mic and the second one is a speaker grill. We do have stereo speakers. These are wider sounding stereo speakers compared to last year. So one speaker is in the earpiece and one is bottom firing. Now finally, let's talk about the battery. Now I'm not sure of the exact size of the battery in the XR, but Apple have said that it should last you up to 1.5 hours more compared to the iPhone 8 Plus. I believe that would give it the best battery life on any iPhone out there. I think that partly does come back to the resolution because of the low resolution and the fact that this has an LCD display. It's not going to need to power as many pixels compared to the iPhone XS and XS Max. So that will be potentially an advantage that you're going to get here on the iPhone XR. I'll be testing this out, using it over the next few days, and I'll let you know how I get on. Storage wise, the iPhone XR does come in either 64, 128 or 256 gigabyte options, and it starts at £750 or dollars. And that's the reason why I think it's going to be the most popular iPhone of this year. If we compare it to the iPhone XS, you are going to be saving around 25%. And if we compare this to last year's iPhone 8, then you're only going to be paying around $50 or £50 more. This makes it accessible to more customers. And think about those customers that I was talking about earlier. People who maybe have the iPhone 6, 6S, maybe the 7. For them, this is going to be a good upgrade, and you are getting a lot of the features that you get on something like the iPhone XS, such as the A12 Bionic chip, the same primary rear-facing camera, the same front-facing camera, Face ID, and all of the AR software features that you get with the A12, and potentially much better battery life too. But that's what I think anyway. What do you guys think? Definitely drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. And let me know what other coverage you'd like me to do here on the channel with the iPhone XR. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, do hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe and switch on notifications. We've got lots more content coming up on here. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.